The ancient threat awakens. Captain Maya Chen stood on the observation deck of the exploration vessel Horizon, watching the planet Kepler 438 grow larger in the viewscreen. After 6 months in deep space, the swirling blue-green orb looked almost like Earth, a sight that always stirred something primal within her. But unlike Earth, this world held secrets that had brought them 12 light-years from home. "Captain, we're detecting the energy signatures again," said Lieutenant Raj Patel, his dark eyes fixed on the sensor readings. "Definitely artificial and definitely old." "Really old?" Maya nodded. "Any change since our probe detected them last month?" "No, ma'am. Still dormant, just like the preliminary scans showed." The Horizon was Earth's most advanced exploration vessel, dispatched to investigate anomalous energy readings detected by automated survey probes. Humanity had been part of the Galactic Union for nearly 2 centuries now, one of 37 spacefaring species that maintained peace across 3 spiral arms of the Milky Way. But they were still considered newcomers, ambitious upstarts who had advanced from primitive radio technology to faster-than-light travel in less than 300 years. "Take us into standard orbit," Maya ordered, "and inform the science team to prepare for descent." 3 hours later, Maya led the expedition across the alien landscape. The ruins rose before them like the skeleton of some enormous creature, metallic spires, and curved structures that defied human architectural logic. Plants with phosphorescent leaves had grown through and around the structures, creating an eerie blue glow against the darkening sky. "These structures are at least 50,000 years old," said Dr. Elena Santos, the team's xenorchaeologist. Her handheld scanner hummed as she moved it across a surface that resembled burnished copper but was harder than diamond. "But the power source is still active somewhere beneath us." Maya activated her comm unit. "Chen to Horizon. Any change in the orbital scans?" "Negative, Captain," came the response. "Still just the low-level energy readings. Nothing to indicate any activity." "Acknowledged. Continue monitoring and maintain alert status." Dr. Santos approached a section of wall covered in strange angular symbols. "This is fascinating. This writing is similar to descriptions of Xelloran script in the Galactic archives." "Xelloran?" Maya frowned. "The species that supposedly vanished 70,000 years ago." "The very same. They were said to be highly advanced, perhaps the first species to achieve interstellar travel in this quadrant. But the archives contain almost nothing concrete about them, just myths and legends from other species." Maya studied the wall. "Can you translate any of it?" "Not directly, but my linguistic algorithm might be able to find patterns." As Dr. Santos worked, Maya explored further into the ruins with Lieutenant Kirei Yoshida, the team's security specialist. The structures seemed to converge toward a central chamber, where the metal walls gave way to a perfect dome, at least 30 meters high. "I'm getting stronger energy readings from below us," Kira said, checking her scanner. "There's definitely something active down there." In the center of the chamber floor was a circular pattern inlaid with what looked like liquid metal, constantly shifting in subtle, hypnotic patterns. "Santos," Maya called over the comm. "We found something in the central chamber. You might want to see this." When the xenorchaeologist arrived, her eyes widened. "This is incredible. If I'm understanding these symbols correctly, this is some kind of interface." Before Maya could respond, the liquid metal pattern suddenly flared with bright blue light. The ground trembled slightly, and the air filled with a low humming that seemed to vibrate inside their skulls. "Everyone back," Maya ordered, drawing her sidearm instinctively. The liquid metal rose from the floor, forming a perfect sphere that hovered at eye level. Within the sphere, light coalesced into a face. Not human, not quite alien. The features were angular, with eyes that seemed to contain galaxies. "Life forms detected," the sphere announced in a voice that sounded like metal grinding against metal. "Analyzing biological composition. Processing language patterns. Adaptation complete." Maya stepped forward cautiously. I am Captain Maya Chen of the Earth exploration vessel Horizon. We come in peace. The sphere rotated slowly. Earth. Processing. Species identification. Human. Threat assessment. Maximum. A chill ran down Maya's spine. We're not a threat. We're explorers from the Galactic Union. Galactic Union. Unknown political entity. Irrelevant. Zelleran Directive remains active. Human species marked for termination. Dr. Santos gasped. Why? What have humans done to the Accelerants? Humans have done nothing, the sphere replied. The directive was established based on predictive analytics. Human evolutionary trajectory indicated 98.7% probability of becoming existential threat to galactic equilibrium within 100,000 years. Zelleran responsibility. Preemptive action. Maya's mind raced. But that's not possible. The Accelerants disappeared 70,000 years ago. Humans weren't even close to space travel then. Zellerans did not disappear, entered dormancy phase to conserve resources after catastrophic war with the Novali Collective. Automated systems remained operational. Surveillance of primitive species continued. Human development exceeded predictions. Aggressive expansion, resource consumption, technological advancement rate. Probability of threat now 99.9%. The implication struck Maya like a physical blow. You've been watching us. For 70,000 years. Affirmative. Observation posts established throughout Sol system. Termination delayed due to resource limitations and Zelleran dormancy protocols. And now? Kira asked, her hand hovering near her weapon. The sphere pulsed. Awakening sequence initiated. Zelleran defense fleet activating. Primary target. Earth. Estimated time to full reactivation. 42 of your days. You can't just decide to exterminate an entire species based on predictions. Maya protested. We're part of the Galactic Union now. We've maintained peace with dozens of other civilizations. Temporary behavioral anomaly. Fundamental human characteristics unchanged. Territorial expansion, hierarchical dominance, resource monopolization, technological weaponization. Those are survival traits that evolved on our homeworld, Dr. Santos argued. They don't define our civilization's values. Irrelevant. Decision matrix established by Accelerant High Council is final. This facility will now commence full activation sequence. The humming intensified, and the ruins around them began to glow with increasing brightness. Panels in the floor slid open, revealing machinery that had lain dormant for millennia beginning to power up. Chen to Horizon. Maya barked into her comm. Emergency extraction, now. The site is activating. Captain, Raj's voice came back, tight with tension. We're detecting massive energy spikes across the planet. There are structures beginning to emerge from beneath the surface at multiple locations. Get the ship ready for immediate departure. We need to warn Earth. The sphere expanded, its light becoming painfully bright. Warning your species is irrelevant. Zelleran technology surpasses human capabilities by 4.3 millennia of development. Resistance is futile. The termination directive will be fulfilled. As the extraction beams from the horizon enveloped them, Maya locked eyes with the alien intelligence. You'll find that humans don't accept predictions about our fate. We make our own. Back aboard the horizon, Maya raced to the bridge as the ship broke orbit. On the main view screen, the planet's surface was now dotted with glowing points of light, awakening Zelleran facilities that had lain hidden for thousands of years. Set course for Earth, maximum speed, Maya ordered, and send priority transmissions to both Earth Command and the Galactic Union Council. Tell them an ancient species has awakened, and they've decided humanity needs to be exterminated. As the horizon accelerated to faster-than-light speed, Maya watched the planet recede on the aft view screen. From the swirling blue-green orb, a massive structure was rising into orbit. A ship of impossible proportions, awakening from a slumber that predated human civilization. Captain, Raj said quietly, Long-range scans are detecting similar energy signatures, activating on at least 17 other worlds across this sector. Maya's jaw tightened. They've been planning this for a very long time. "Do you think the Galactic Union will help us?" asked Kira. "I don't know. We're still newcomers to them. Some species might even agree with the Accelerant assessment." Maya straightened her shoulders. "But whether we have help or not, we'll fight. Humanity didn't climb out of Earth's gravity well just to be exterminated by someone else's prediction algorithm." As the horizon raced toward Earth, carrying its dire warning, ancient machines across multiple star systems continued their awakening sequence, preparing for a war that had been planned since before humans had discovered fire, a war against a species deemed too dangerous to allow into the galactic community. The clock was ticking. Earth had 42 days to prepare for an enemy they'd never known existed, wielding technology they could barely comprehend. The Accelerant Directive had been established 70,000 years ago, and now the time had come for its execution. Humanity's greatest test was about to begin. Humanity's defiance. The Galactic Union Council chamber fell silent as the holographic recording of the Accelerant Eye ended. The vast circular hall, designed to accommodate representatives of 37 spacefaring species, seemed to hold its collective breath. Maya Chen stood alone at the center of the chamber, her Blue Earth Alliance uniform a stark contrast to the varied forms and colors surrounding her. She had spent the last 20 minutes presenting the evidence gathered from Kepler 438c, and now she waited for the Council's response. High Counselor Jean, an ancient Sateri whose crystalline body reflected the chamber's light in rainbow patterns, finally spoke. "Captain Chen, the Council acknowledges the gravity of this situation. The Accelerants were indeed known to us, or rather, to our ancestors. Their technological achievements were unparalleled, but their rigid approach to galactic order was troubling. Then you'll help us defend Earth?" Maya asked, hope rising within her. The Council members exchanged glances, their expressions unreadable to human eyes. "The matter is not so simple," said Representative Krell of the Vorox Imperium, his scaled face impassive. "The Accelerants were considered the greatest scientific minds in the galaxy, if they determined humans to be a threat. Based on predictions made before we'd even developed written language," Maya protested. "We've been members of this union for nearly 2 centuries without conflict." "A mere moment in cosmic time," Krell replied. "Your species has expanded to 17 star systems in just 2 centuries, faster than any other member race. Out of necessity, not aggression," Maya countered. "Earth was facing ecological collapse when we developed our first colony ships." High Counselor Jean raised a crystalline hand for silence. "The Council will deliberate on this matter, but Captain Chen, you should understand. Committing Union forces against the Accelerants would risk a war unlike any we have seen in 50 millennia. While you deliberate, my people will die," Maya said, fighting to keep her voice steady. "We have 31 days remaining before the Accelerant fleet reaches Earth." "We understand the urgency," Jean assured her. "But rushing to war could doom more than just humanity." As Maya left the chamber, Ambassador Lyra Tivran of Earth waited outside, her normally composed features tight with tension. "How bad?" "They're afraid," Maya said flatly. "The Accelerants are legends to them, like gods or demons from ancient history. I don't think they'll commit to our defense." Lyra nodded grimly. Earth Command reached the same conclusion. "They're preparing for the worst." "Then I should be there," Maya said. "The Horizon has the most detailed scans of Accelerant technology." "Already arranged," Lyra said, handing her a data crystal. "Priority transport leaves in 30 minutes. Good luck, Captain." 26 days later, Earth's orbital defense platforms were complete, a rushed assembly of humanity's best defensive technology, enhanced with what little information they had gleaned from the Accelerant ruins. The planet below was in a state of controlled chaos as evacuation protocols moved billions of civilians to underground shelters. Maya stood in Earth Command's Strategic Operations Center, watching holographic displays tracking the approaching Accelerant fleet. The massive ships, 27 of them, each larger than anything in Earth's navy, had maintained a direct course for the Sol system since their awakening. "They're not even trying to hide their approach," said Admiral Helena Reyes, Earth Defense Force Commander. "No evasive maneuvers, no attempt at deception." "They don't think they need to," Maya replied. "To them, we're primitives. Let's hope that overconfidence works in our favor." The Admiral turned to address the room. "Status report." Colonel Marcus Kim stepped forward. "All defense platforms are online. The lunar mass driver is at 98% capacity. The Mars defense perimeter is fully operational. Civilian evacuation is at 87% completion." "And Project Prometheus?" the Admiral asked. "Ready for deployment on your command," Kim confirmed, though Dr. Isakov maintains his objections. Dr. Alexei Isakov, head of Earth's Xenotechnology Division, scowled from his station. "Because it's a desperate gamble that could make things worse. We barely understand the principles involved." "We're facing extinction, Doctor," Admiral Rice said evenly. "Desperate gambles are all we've got left." Maya studied the tactical display. "What about the Galactic Union?" "Ambassador Tuvran reports that they're still assessing the situation," Colonel Kim said with undisguised bitterness. "3 observer ships have positioned themselves just outside the system. They'll watch us die from a safe distance." A young lieutenant suddenly called out, "Admiral, the Accelerant fleet has dropped out of FTL at the edge of the system." On the main display, 27 massive ships appeared near Pluto's orbit. Their design was unlike anything Maya had seen, not the sleek curves of Union vessels, nor the utilitarian angles of human ships, but complex geometric forms that seemed to fold in upon themselves in ways that hurt the eyes to follow. "All forces to battle stations," Admiral Rice ordered calmly. "Initiate defensive protocol Alpha." Earth's fleet of 400 ships moved into formation, tiny compared to the Accelerant vessels, but numerous. The orbital platforms powered up their main weapons, creating a web of defensive coverage around the planet. "They're broadcasting on all frequencies," reported the communications officer. "Let's hear it," Rice said. The voice that filled the command center was the same metallic grinding Maya had heard in the ruins. "Attention human species. This is Executor Protocol of the Accelerant Directive. Your termination has been ordered by the High Council for the Preservation of Galactic Equilibrium. Surrender will result in painless extinction. Resistance will result in systematic destruction." Admiral Rice exchanged glances with Maya before stepping forward. "This is Admiral Helena Reyes of the Earth Defense Force. We reject your directive and your authority. Humanity will not surrender to extinction based on predictions made before we'd even built our first cities." A pause, and then, Defiance noted, "Commencing termination protocols." The Accelerant ships began to move, splitting into 3 groups that accelerated toward Earth at impossible speeds. "They're faster than we calculated," Colonel Kim said, his voice tight. "All ships, engage at will," Admiral Rice ordered. "Defensive platforms, commence firing sequence." The battle for Earth's survival began with humanity striking first. Hundreds of antimatter missiles launched from the lunar mass driver, streaking across space toward the approaching Accelerant fleet. On the tactical display, Maya watched as the missiles reached their targets and passed straight through them. "Direct hits," reported a tactical officer. "But no impact. No damage registering." "How is that possible?" Colonel Kim demanded. Dr. Isakov was frantically analyzing data. "They're manipulating space-time around their ships. The missiles are passing through distorted space." The Accelerant fleet continued its advance unhindered, and now it was their turn to attack. Beams of energy unlike anything in human science lashed out, cutting through Earth's frontline defenses as if they were paper. Ships disintegrated one after another, their crews having no time even to scream. "First defensive line breached," reported Colonel Kim grimly. "Casualties at 70% and climbing. Fall back to secondary positions," Admiral Rice ordered. Activate the orbital platforms. The massive defense platforms orbiting Earth came to life, firing directed energy weapons and graviton pulses at the advancing enemy. For a moment, it seemed to slow the Accelerant advance. Several of their smaller vessels appeared to stutter in their approach. "We've affected their drive systems," Dr. Isakov exclaimed. "The graviton pulses are disrupting their space-time manipulation. Focus all graviton platforms on their lead vessels," Rice commanded. For a brief, hopeful moment, the Accelerant advance halted as their ships struggled against the graviton field. Then, with a flash of light that temporarily blinded Earth's sensors, the alien vessels reconfigured themselves, their impossible geometries shifting. When visual contact was restored, 3 of Earth's orbital platforms were gone, simply erased from existence, and the Accelerant fleet continued its advance. "They adapted," Dr. Isakov whispered. "In seconds, they analyzed our technology and countered it." Admiral Rice's face hardened. "Initiate Project Prometheus." Now. Colonel Kim hesitated only for a second before entering the command codes from hidden bases across the solar system. 50 small, unmanned vessels accelerated toward the Accelerant fleet. Unlike the military vessels, these were plainly civilian in design. Old mining ships, retrofitted with strange devices where cargo holds should be. "What are those?" Maya asked, not recognizing the ships from any briefing she'd received. "Our last hope," Admiral Rice said quietly, "based on your team's analysis of the Accelerant ruins." On the display, the mining ships maneuvered directly into the path of the alien fleet. The Accelerants didn't even bother to fire on them. The tiny vessels were likely beneath their notice. "Prometheus devices activating," Colonel Kim reported. The mining ships suddenly emitted pulses of energy that rippled visibly across space. Where the pulses touched Accelerant vessels, their complex geometries seemed to stutter and shift erratically. "What are we seeing?" Maya demanded. Dr. Isakov was watching in fascination. "Quantum resonance disruptors. The Accelerant ships operate on principles of quantum coherence, maintaining impossible states through technological means. These devices create a field that collapses those states." The effect on the Accelerant fleet was immediate and dramatic. Their ships began to lose cohesion, sections of their impossible geometries folding wrongly into each other. Several smaller vessels simply collapsed in upon themselves, while the larger ones struggled to maintain their forms. "It's working," Colonel Kim exclaimed. "All remaining ships, concentrate fire on the compromised vessels," Admiral Rice ordered. "Earth's surviving fleet converge, targeting the crippled Accelerant ships with everything they had." This time, their weapons found purchase. Explosions bloomed in silence across the void as humanity struck back against its would-be executioners. But the victory was short-lived. The largest Accelerant vessel, the flagship at the center of their formation, suddenly emitted a pulse of its own, a wave of energy that destroyed the Prometheus devices instantly. Then it accelerated toward Earth, its weapons charging. "Evacuate the command center," Admiral Rice ordered calmly. "All personnel to emergency shelters." "Admiral," Maya began to protest. "That's an order, Captain Chen." Rice cut her off. "Someone needs to survive to tell humanity's story." As Maya was led away by security personnel, she caught a last glimpse of Admiral Rice standing tall before the tactical display, watching as the massive Accelerant flagship approached Earth, its weapons preparing to end billions of lives. Then the command center doors sealed behind her, and she was rushing through corridors toward the emergency transport tubes that would take her deep underground. The first impacts came as Maya reached the shelter level. Massive tremors that shook the entire facility. Emergency lighting flickered on as the main power failed. "Status report," she demanded of the shelter's command staff. A pale-faced lieutenant responded. "The Accelerant flagship is bombarding the planet. Defense networks are down. We've lost contact with 60% of global command centers." Maya felt numb. After everything they'd tried, after all their preparation, it was ending just as the Accelerant Eye had predicted, with humanity's extinction. A communications officer suddenly called out, "Captain, we're receiving a transmission from the Galactic Union fleet." Hope flared briefly as Maya rushed to the console. "Put it through." The holographic display flickered to life, showing not the observation ships they'd expected, but a vast armada of Union vessels dropping out of FTL near Mars, hundreds of ships from dozens of member species. Earth Defense Force, this is High Counselor Jean of the Galactic Union. We have analyzed the Accelerant threat and have reached a decision. The Union will not stand by while one of its members faces extinction. The Union fleet accelerated toward Earth, engaging the remaining Accelerant ships. Even the mighty flagship turned from its bombardment to face this new threat. "The Council took your evidence seriously, Captain Chen," Jean continued. "While deliberating, we discovered ancient records indicating the Accelerants attempted similar preventative extinctions against 3 other species before their disappearance. They were not the guardians of galactic peace they claimed to be, but enforcers of their own rigid view of cosmic order." On the tactical display, Maya watched as the combined firepower of 37 species, including technologies the Union had never shared with humanity, tore into the Accelerant flagship. Its impossible geometry finally collapsed, the massive vessel imploding into a singularity that quickly dissipated. Hours later, Maya stood in the ruins of what had once been Rio de Janeiro, gazing up at a sky filled with the lights of Union vessels, helping with emergency operations. The Accelerant attack had devastated Earth's surface, but humanity had survived, bloodied but unbroken. High Counselor Jean's crystalline form reflected the sunset as he approached her. "Captain Chen, I came to offer the Union's formal apology for our hesitation." Maya looked at the alien being who had ultimately chosen to save her species. "Why did you change your mind?" "Because you were right," Jean said simply. "The Accelerants judged your entire species on theoretical models, ignoring what you had actually become. When we examined our own records more closely, we found that every species they targeted shared one trait: potential to someday challenge Accelerant dominance. Their predictions weren't about galactic peace. They were about maintaining their own power." Maya looked back at the devastated city, where human and alien rescue teams worked side by side. "We've lost billions of lives and much of our homeworld. Yet your species will recover," Jean observed. "The Union will help rebuild. And perhaps this shared crisis will help humanity find its true place among the stars, not as the threat the Accelerants feared, but as the allies the Union needs." Maya watched as a group of children emerged from an emergency shelter, their faces lighting up at the sight of the alien rescue workers. Despite everything, they approached the visitors with curiosity rather than fear. "You know," she said to Jean, "those Accelerant predictions might still come true. Humanity spreading across the galaxy, changing everything we touch. But maybe that's not the threat they thought it was." "How so?" the crystalline being asked. "Because we won't do it alone anymore." Maya gestured to the mixed groups of humans and aliens working together. "The future belongs to all of us now." As night fell on the wounded Earth, the stars above seemed brighter than ever before, not distant points of light to be feared, but beacons of a shared tomorrow, where humanity's place in the cosmic order would be determined not by ancient predictions, but by the choices they made together with their galactic neighbors. The Accelerant directive had failed. Humanity would not be exterminated. They would evolve, alongside allies who had chosen to stand with them against the darkness. And in that alliance lay the true path to galactic equilibrium.